Well, howdy ho there, fans and mans. I don't know. What's the other word that we're fans? Anyway, howdy ho there, everybody. How are you doing today? Hopefully, you're all doing absolutely peachy keen, fantastic, full of the love of the Lord and all that great stuff. Also, hopefully, that you're having a great day full of space marine type joy within your belly. Belly joy is good joy, I think. Um, Today, I just want to talk a little bit about positivity in the Warhammer community. I think that sometimes we need to say when something is bothering us. We need to say when things are not necessarily going the best way. We have a lot of different YouTubers out there who are very, very positive towards Games Workshop in general, and some that are very, very critical of the Games Workshop. I like some people on both sides of that. I do think the Games Workshop deserves criticism for the things they do, and we need to recognize the sort of corporate agendas and things like that in there. But at the same time, I really like it when our Warhammer community is a place where we can engage in the hobby and engage in our individual Warhammer hobby or other miniature games with a sense of positivity and a sense of enjoying it. I personally am a big fan of being able to criticize things I love. I like, as much as I love Warhammer 40K, sometimes I like criticizing it and criticizing things like Space Marines. I think Space Marines are one of those concepts in 40K that is both simultaneously really silly, but also really cool. Or, like I love my orcs. My orcs are like very silly, but also very cool. Um, and the thing that I like so much about all this different stuff is that we can kind of have our differences of opinion still be, very positive about the hobby as a whole. I mean, I definitely think that there are some aspects I've seen, though, where I have seen some negative parts of this hobby. There are certain circles that are, not as accepting or tolerant as others and say some really rude things to people. And then there's other places where, like, it's just like no matter what Games Workshop does, they've done it in the wrong. And, I understand, too, that, like, for some YouTube creators, uh, you're focusing on the negative stuff because that's what gets clicks, or that's what like your audience kind of goes for. And then some people focus more on the positive stuff, and like that, some is also part of it. Like even if they like Warhammer, maybe they're being more enthusiastic in their videos because we do kind of have this tendency to put on personas in videos and things like that to sort of enhance the entertainment value of what we're doing and what we're looking at, and that's perfectly understandable. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that. Sometimes we have moments of clarity too, where we realize that maybe we're being more negative than we should be, and other times we have moments where we, maybe we were a little bit overhyped on a product, and we need to pull that back a little bit. But overall, I would prefer it if we were able to be positive about the hobby and be like, okay, yeah, these are the cool things that stuff put out. And on my previous channel, there were a couple times where I really kind of dug into Games Workshop, and then thinking back on that, I'm like, ah, well, I didn't really need to do that. I think that there are plenty of people out there who make really good content that will really demonstrate like some areas where Games Workshop needs criticism. But then there's also some place where it's like, well, they're also doing really cool things. Like ultimately, I have to say, for instance, Age of Sigmar fourth edition thus far has looked really cool. Age of Sigmar has a lot of really cool models, and it seems like people are really trying on that team. And I would say the same thing with 40K, where there's a lot of people really trying and really trying to put out some good stuff. And we get to see new models, which are really nice, and we get to see new stuff going out. And it is part of the hobby in a way, part of our uh, culture in these spaces to kind of rib and make fun of things, and also be like, oh wow, that's kind of crap, and it could be better. But sometimes it is just really nice to be able to be more positive about what's going on. Like I'm always looking forward to new miniatures and stuff like that. I wasn't the biggest fan of what they did to the Skaven more recently. I kind of prefer them a little bit more goofy and a little less straight up body horror. I prefer a little bit more of the goofiness, but as I've said before with my love of orcs and things like that, that's part of the reason I love orcs. And but at the same time, there are people who really like the new Skaven, and there's also people who really like the body horror. But there's also people who like, for instance, Cruel Boys, which I'm not as big on. I don't hate the Cruel Boys, but they're just not like the main reason I like orcs in like fantasy and 40K and Age of Sigmar. Um, but we can have these differences and allow ourselves to uh, kind of choose these sorts of things. But what I also think we need to know as consumers of this sort of content is that, everybody has motivations for what they're saying and why they're saying it. Maybe some of them could possibly be dishonest or quote unquote manipulative in some sense. But I think we should give people the benefit of the doubt and really try to be as kind to people as possible. Because look, even if someone is saying something that's really, 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 really silly, or at least seems really, 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 really silly to you, we should still be able to allow people to express their opinions in a way that's not, toxic. We don't have to get overly worked up about a little disagreement or something like that. We don't have to get overly worked up about like canon or are they letting too many people into a hobby or something like that? Because those are a lot of really silly things to worry about. Don't worry too much about that. Try your best to simply engage in the more positive behaviors. And when we criticize, we should try to be um, positive might not necessarily be the right word there, but fair. We should try to be fair, and we should try to understand that people come at things from different perspectives and we're allowed to disagree and allowed to still love one another and be cool. So you're gonna be cool? I think you should be cool. What's Fonzie like? Correctamundo. So anyway, I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day. I just wanted to share my thoughts on this because I've been seeing. But I was watching some videos and it seems like people are kind of like doing this weird thing where they're like, "Wow, there's conspiracy theories going on. There's all kinds of weird stuff." But that's kind of always going on. I just like saying, "Let's be positive and be nice to one another." Okie dokie, or jokey. Okie dokie. I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day, and I hope that you know that I love you and God loves you. And bye bye. I love you. Bye. Bye.